I self-diagnosed. Jamaica has a lie. Jamaica has the lowest productivity rates within the Americas. Who says so? Man, how important is wellness in the workspace? And how do we improve our wellness level for the workspace? To answer these questions, we have with us the CEO of Essential Medical Services, Dr. Aisha Thompson, and he's going to be talking to us a little bit about that. How are you?
Good morning, Lily.
Welcome to Smile
I'm
Jamaica.
awesome this morning.
Mental wellness, mental wellness, health and wellness.
Yes,
Hellness.
health and wellness.
Sometimes we're in hellness, right?
Yes.
Are we becoming a little bit more appreciative of the term mental wellness? Because I think people before when you say mental wellness, I'm saying, no, man, I'm all right. Once you're not naked and eating out of a pan. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be frank with you, Delia, that currently mental health is still a stigmatized area.
Yeah.
But I think with the term mental wellness, people are seeing that your mind is not just a space that has a potential to be diseased,
All right.
but it's also a space that you can flourish and thrive from. It's a space that you can live your best life. It's where you get a chance to live the potential that you were gifted to be from birth. And that's where we, as professionals, are trying to take it to. You're not just a label that you've been given if you do have a disease. You're not just a potential if your family has it, but you're certainly something greater. And we live our lives through our mind, and if we can see that our mind is a space to develop, then we get excited by it, and we don't feel like we have to bottle ourselves in a corner if somebody says something about us, about what we are. All right, but that doesn't define us, but we live our lives by what we choose to define it as.
Yeah. How does it affect the workplace? I find it an interesting topic because now that you've said it, it does affect home life in a different way than it would probably affect you at work.
Definitely, definitely. I think because in the workplace, we have this focus on productivity, we have this focus on ensuring that we get our tasks done and so forth. So anything that impedes us from doing that, it puts us in a corner because either we're the bad member of the team or we're the person who makes it difficult for others or we're the person who, well, just don't say anything to him.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
All right.
that's Colson.
Yeah, so and it impacts whether or not we can continue with the rest of our life because the workspace is where we get to develop and earn and be able to provide for which we do everywhere else in our lives. Yeah, so it's a very, very critical space to be able to understand, hey, what is this mental wellness? What is this mental health? How do we deal with it? Because what changes is not just simply putting a label on someone, but their ability to produce, their ability to be viable with their families and otherwise become greatly impaired.
Because once it impairs your ability to function normally, then it's a challenge. So let's talk about, first of all, two things that you need to do as first the employer to make sure that productivity is high because mental wellness is at a peak.
Yeah. So as an employee, it's so important, Delia, for us to realize that without somebody having a well mind, then it's very difficult to develop. And a lot of times as employers, we don't so much think that it's our responsibility to nourish and nurture somebody's mind. But if you think about it...
I feel you're getting paid, do the work.
Yes, do the work, yes.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, you get to realize that the workplace can be a very toxic place. It is something that's filled with deadlines. It's something that fills with things that load our mind and so forth. So you're constantly putting burdens on somebody's mind space. And while a lot of us, especially as Jamaicans, we talawa, we feel that we can push through. But eventually it grinds us down. And a lot of us find ourselves in depressive places, anxiety places, or just being marginalized. And while that is the end of it, there's what we need, though, on a day-to-day to ensure that productivity and profitability is at its best. Because while, yes, you can have somebody who feels good and they can manage what's at home, if we don't create a facilitating and a supportive environment that our workers now can be their best, they feel engaged, they feel alive, and this place is helping me to develop, it's helping me to grow, it's helping me to transcend. If that is not deliberately thought about, then you'll find that it's very difficult to have a workplace that has sustainable profit, sustainable performance as to what you want. So it's very, very important to think about. On the next level, though, and this is where it's important for me as a person and also as a professional, is that we have to realize we're human beings. And as the golden rule says, do unto others as you'll have them do unto you. We have to remember we are our brother's keeper. We live each day in relationships, and we have to speak good to each other. All right? And as such, so thinking about each other, so like you think about your friend, or you think about your family, it's so important to do that in the workplace as well. And this is what makes the workplace a fabulous place. And this is what we want to bring forward in the things that we do.
So you want to create an environment that's not just about deadlines and churning out work
There
per
you go.
se. You should have team building
Yes.
opportunities and opportunities. How important is it? So moving from the employer to employee,
Yeah.
how important is it for each employee to look out for the other's wellness?
Yeah.
That's why I find team building is very important, because I like to say sometimes if you don't know who you're working with, then you don't know. So people might say, I'm lazy. But maybe he just moves at a different pace than everybody else, but he's really very efficient.
Yes.
But he moves at a different pace. So how important is it for employee to employee to look out for each other's wellness?
Yeah, so we're social creatures as human beings, and if and what I think to realize about the mind, and I'll share this with you quite quickly, that our mind is an open circuit, and we have to realize this, that if you go in somewhere and you feel somebody who is sad, quickly what you do, you feel sad too, right?
Yeah.
So we're easily connected to others, and so that the way we treat others is the way it's going to reciprocate it back to us. So as persons, we must always, just as we expect our leaders to be conscious of us, we must be conscious of our fellow man who we work with, because that's how we're going to get the space that we want.
Yeah.
If somebody comes and they're angry and then we just react and hold back, then what we're going to find is that anger perpetuates. So we're going to have to find that if we want to move it to positive, then we're going to have to react positively to now help it to move to that space. So whether it is that you're looking at the actual actions that happen in the moment, or you're looking at how the person is going to change over time, then we need to consider the person.
I was watching a reality show,
Yeah.
and she was having a real warm time at home with her husband, and when she went into the group, a small thing
Yes.
escalated into something major. And because we were watching and we knew what was the backstory, I understood why she was behaving that way. But within the group, people are like, she's crazy. But, so it's important. Team building
Yes.
is important. As the individual now, what are some of the important things that we should observe to preserve and sustain our own mental wellness at work? Are there some jobs that we should say at some point in time, this is not good for my mental wellness,
Yes.
and I should just leave?
Yeah, so that's a good question. It's a very interesting question.
Yeah.
There are lots of good things to do on a day-to-day basis to preserve our mental state, just like we preserve our body through exercise and eating right. That very same thing preserve our mind as well, because our mind, just like our body, is supplied by blood vessels and nerves. It responds to the same thing. But the mind itself also has exercises that are very good for it. Take, for example, mindfulness is a very good exercise to do. Meditation, something to help you to learn to focus, all right? Being able to build quality relationships is very important to nourish our minds, function. We are connected to each other, and it helps us to build. Also, being able to sleep well. This is a very, very interesting one. I shared it with you because I share it all the time in all my wellness programs that I do with organizations. We have to remember that the only time the brain cleans itself is while we sleep.
Really?
So Alzheimer's, depression, memory slips, all of these things that we suffer with a lot once we get over 30. The way to protect yourself from them is to get quality sleep balanced with good exercise. So these things are very good for the mind.
Geez,
I hope I didn't step on your car.
my brain gone now, Marvin. It gone, it gone. Quality sleep.
Good quality sleep. At least 8 hours of sleep is critical to
What?
mental health. Yes.
8 hours
At
a
le-
day?
At least 8 hours of quality sleep is good. I know we try to hold with the 5 hours or the 3 hours, but and sometimes even that 3-5 hours it's not good quality because we're trying to wake up to go back to work or trying to get up and go do other things. So we're not even sleeping in those times.
Okay. Some people tend to, I'm not pointing the finger at myself, so we grab maybe 2 to 3 hours during the week and say, okay, on Saturday I'm going to sleep all day. Does that help?
Yes, sir. Well, let me say the jury's probably out on that.
Yeah.
What it said, and I mean, I'll just share by what
You're
research.
patching up something, so yeah. No, I'm thinking
The
about,
res-
I'm saying like the tire, it's like wearing out your tire and then you keep patching it after you wear it out. It really doesn't.
Yeah, the
work.
catch up is not as good as if you do it consistently,
yeah.
and this is what is really important in all aspects of health. It's the consistency that's important. It's not just to do it once in a while, every time you can get to do it, but to realize that the body needs to replenish itself. It needs to rejuvenate. So you need that rest. You need that rebuilding time in all aspects of your life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Prince, no, the older people get is not the less they sleep. The older you get is the less you sleep. You're having a workshop?
Yes, so we're having a conference tomorrow that we're doing with the Human Resource Association of Jamaica. It's called Optimal Productivity. All right. That workshop really focuses on winning minds, helping organization leaders, helping the varied strategic team within organizations and practitioners too to look at the cutting edge best practices that are there to build a blueprint to now ensure that you have a well workplace.
Yeah.
It's not good enough to have a workplace that has wellness activities. It is better to have a well workplace. So we want to show you what is new in 2019 where it comes to that roadmap to now have a blueprint that will work for thousands of organizations globally and can now work here. So we have Dr. Nathan Charles, who has 30 years of experience in executive coaching. He's going to come and share his experience. We have Dr. Pernell Bell here, over 20 years. We have yes, we have many professionals who are going to be there to share the best practices that have been curated over many years, and certainly those that know research is showing that even within the organization that there can be research-driven best practices that help you to develop the best mental space that people can flourish and thrive.
Yeah, it's important. Mental wellness and productivity are so intricately linked that you can't overlook mental wellness if you really want to be an efficient and a successful organization. Yes. So it's really great. And HR managers, everybody who wants to attend, where do they find info?
So the info, they can connect with HERMAJ or the Human Resource Association Jamaica, or the website is winningminds.event, and they can winningminds.events. They can sign up online, or the Human Resource Association Jamaica. The telephones are online that you can jump on, give them a call, and turn out tomorrow and just come and learn to make your workplace well. It will also have great well experience for everybody as well. So it will be resource and equipped the leaders to be well leaders.
HR managers and the leaders need a little wellness themselves.
Yeah, man.
Because they're taking in so many.
Their tension is high.
Yeah.
So if they aren't well it's very difficult for the organization to be well.
All right, great. It was great having you, Doc.
Thank you so much, Delia.
It's important, everyone, if you can attend or participate in this workshop, please do so. CEO of Essential Medical Services, Dr. Aisha Thompson. More on Smile when we return. Don't go away.